Well, hello everyone, welcome. We're live. It's Tuesday Tips Live with Digital DJ Tips and me, Phil Morse. So today we're talking all about the big one, the battle between Denon DJ and Pioneer DJ, specifically in the standalone DJ gear world. So our intro shot then had two controllers, one representing each side of the debate, if you like. This isn't going to be particularly about hardware today. It's more going to be about whether, you know, at the beginning of your DJ journey, it's a good idea to go for the Denon route or the Pioneer route if you want what's called a standalone DJ controller. So we'll talk a little bit about what that means, and then we'll go into the details of this in 5 big areas that I've selected to talk through with you. And let's move over to the main desk in order to start doing that. It says Phil, who suddenly finds that his controllers have stopped working. It happens. There we go. So these are the two controllers that we're talking about here, or the two systems we're talking about. Representing Pioneer, this is actually an old XDJ RX controller, because the new one is in with Steve across the border in Spain. We're in Gibraltar here and I can't get there because there's lockdown going on. And this is a Prime 2 from Denon DJ, representing the Denon DJ side. So what's the big thing about these two controllers? What's the big thing that makes this kind of controller different from other DJ systems? Well, because they're not really controllers. Yes, they can control DJ software, but they're not made to do that. These are what are called standalone, and standalone means that the system that you're using does not need one of these. You can ditch the laptop with a standalone system. Now, if that's something that appeals to you and you want a unit which is standalone, which is kind of like just one unit, well, you're going to want to go for something like this. Now, both of these systems have hardware outside of, you know, a standalone unit that's just like this. They have controllers, media players, mixers, and so on, that again use the same system. We'll reference that today, but we won't talk about that. You know, the Pioneer Pro Gear in the DJ booth is separate systems, but they all use the same stuff that this is. Separate pieces, separate mixer, 2 separate CDJs, 2 separate players, and Denon DJ has its own take on that as well. The SC 5000s and 6000s and the equivalent mixers. So the point is, there are ecosystems here of gear, and which one is right for you? Well, if you have decided it's definitely not going to be laptop DJing for you, that's what we're going to sort out today. So if you enjoy this broadcast, please do all the usual things: follow, share, like, subscribe, click notify. If you're watching the repeat, it's probably because you didn't do any of those things and you weren't told when this was live. But of course, it doesn't matter if you're watching it live or if you're watching a repeat. If you'd like your questions answered on this subject, ask them underneath. If I can't get to you on the live broadcast, my team will get to you at some point afterwards. All right then, let's go say our first hellos. Oh, by the way, it wouldn't be a live stream if I didn't remind you. If you want to know how to get started in DJing and you're totally new to this, I want to give you a copy of our book. It's an Amazon bestseller, but you can have it for free. All you got to do is join Digital DJ Tips. Go to digitaldjtips.com/join. And that's it. And we'll join you up. And we'll give you a download of that book, which is a great book, even though I say so myself. Right, okay, cool. Let's get started then. Right, so let's just get a few of your early, lots and lots of hellos. So just hello to everyone who's saying hello. Maximus is looking forward to this video, which is cool. That's good. Hi to everyone who was on the live stream last night. I can see lots of names popping up here from there as well. So hi Phil, really curious to see the verdict here. Yep, well, as you will find out, it's a bit more nuanced than just a yes, go for that one or go for that one, but we'll cover it. So I'd pick Pioneer any deck. I've tried both and I feel like Pioneer have the better build, and it's like back in the day there were so many other vinyl turntables but only one winner. Technics, says Doily, so thank you very much, Doily. Anthony says, let's cut the hype and see how they perform. Well, they do everything that a DJ setup needs to do. They have spinning music controlled by something that spins, and they have a mixer in the middle. They all perform to a standard where you can DJ on them. So that's not really what this is about. It's about which is best for you, and it's a lot more nuanced than just, you know, this performs. You want to play a DJ set, you can play a DJ set on one of those. You look at the live streams we do, we play on all kinds of gear. It doesn't sound any different. It's not really about that. It's about whether you're spending a lot of money buying into the right system or not, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So thanks for that, Anthony. Well, looking forward to this, says Benedict. Yeah, it is a big question, isn't it? I heard Pioneer is stopping production of DJ equipment. I could be wrong. Well, I certainly haven't heard that. Unknown person. All right then. So they look similar. Yeah, we're not talking massively about the hardware. I just pulled out the first hardware I could find that would fit on our bench from the two manufacturers. This is actually an old XDJ RX from Pioneer. As I said, our more modern model is actually in our Steve's studio over the border from us here in Gibraltar in Spain, and this is a Prime 2. So yes, they do look very similar, these two. They're both 2-channel controllers, about the same size jog wheels. But that's another video, which one to go for out of those two. All right then. A couple more comments and then we'll get started on the points. Where did you get that laptop stand from? We'll let you know in the comments. Everyone asks that. I think Pioneer DJ is good for the record box and Denon DJ for Serato DJ. The only Pioneer DJ controller that's awesome is the DDJ SB3. It's an interesting thing to say that, Ram, because you can use Serato DJ if you do want to use your laptop. You can use Serato DJ on pretty much lots of controllers, not just, you can use it on the Denon controller, not on the Prime 2 we got there, but you can use it on the Prime 4, but you can also use it, for instance, on some of the Pioneer controllers. So when you start introducing software, it becomes a bit more complicated when you're introducing third-party software. The Pioneer with the Denon's screen, says Tony, that would be my dream controller. All right then, so let's move and talk formally about a few of these points now, and I'll come back to a few more of your comments in a second. Right, okay. So the first thing I want to cover is the hardware. Let's get that out of the way. It's annoying me. Better. The first thing I want to cover is the hardware. Now, never mind any individual pieces of hardware. Denon DJ's hardware is worlds ahead of Pioneer DJ's hardware at the moment for standalone. In other words, for using without having a laptop with you. Denon DJ's units basically have computers built into them. That means they can update the firmware. That means they can roll out new software to run on those computers. It's no surprise that the operating system inside these units is called it's called Engine OS for operating system, because they're real computers inside these. These are not. These are just programmed to do what they do, and that's it. You can't really meaningfully update the Pioneer gear at all at the moment. That means that in theory, Denon can update its gear for many years coming with all the new features they want to add to it. So these have got proper computers in, the Denon ones, and Pioneers haven't. It's basically the next generation. That said, I'm sure Pioneer's next round of gear will have a similar thing in it. But right now they haven't. None of them across the range. From the lowliest XDJ RR, which is their entry-level controller of this type, or entry-level DJ system of this type, all the way up to the Pro gear. None of them have got computers in. All the Denon stuff has. That's a very, very big difference. So, and the Denon stuff is much more powerful anyway. Much better touch screens because they've got a computer in them that can control that touch screen, multi-touch technology and all that stuff. They've got Wi-Fi built in, so you can stream directly from Tidal and SoundCloud, and BeatSource and Beatport are coming for the Denon gear. None of that is built into the Pioneer gear. It just can't do it. And the Denon gear, if you buy bigger, you buy a Prime 4, which is bigger than the one I've got here, the Prime 2, can easily DJ with 4 channels. And because it's got a computer built in, that also means that you can take a USB drive with just MP3s on it, or a tractor collection, or a record box collection, plug it into the Denon gear, and the Denon gear will churn through that music, and it will give you waveforms and BPMs and beat gridding and harmonic key information and all that. You can't do that on the Pioneer stuff. The Pioneer stuff won't give you any of that stuff unless you've analysed it all beforehand. So hardware-wise, as we stand here in the middle of 2020, Denon is slaying it. Denon DJ's gear is streets ahead of anyone else in this market by a long, long way. But it's not all about the hardware. So I want to move on now to talk about the software. Now, the reason today is a good day to talk about the software, and you might actually say, well, why? Why do you need software? I thought these were like standalone units. And in a way they are. The Denon gear can actually link you in to streaming music services, and you don't need a laptop, but that's something we'll move on to in a bit. The reason you need software is that in order to take your music collection, whether you're buying from Beatport or iTunes, the iTunes store and getting it into music, or whether you're buying from Amazon or wherever you're getting your music from, to take that music, put it into something that looks a bit like iTunes. Let's just call it iTunes for DJs. They've both got their own version, which we'll talk about in a minute. and do stuff to that music to get it ready to then put onto a USB drive and plug into your standalone unit to DJ without the laptop. So you'll be preparing it to make playlists, you'll be analysing the music and putting your cue points and loops and checking the beat grids are right. You'll be doing all this stuff ahead of time. And then the idea is you plug in your USB before your gig, you click export, and the stuff you want goes onto the USB, and you toddle off to your gig, plug it into the system, and you don't need a laptop there to work with it. So a laptop is integral, and actually the software that runs on it is integral as well. Now, up until today, Pioneer was ahead of Denon by quite a long shot. Denon's software was frankly poor. It lacked so many things which you just want in DJ preparation software. And we could have a whole video just talking about that, but just trust me, it wasn't there. Rekordbox was always a library program. Rekordbox is the Pioneer DJ software. Denon's is called Engine Prime, by the way. Rekordbox, which is the software that you use to prepare your music, has been there for years. It didn't used to be very good, but it's got better over the years to the point where it's actually very, very good now. It's got great tagging, for instance, and great export and import features. It's just a good piece of software, very mature piece of software, lots of interesting and useful stuff on it for the pro DJ. Now, Engine didn't have hardly anything, frankly, until today. And actually today they've released Engine version 1.5, which has fixed a lot of the problems with the Engine software. It's now got really good beat gridding, actually the best beat gridding I've seen on any. The best BPM detection and beat gridding I've seen on anything, including at first glance Serato, which is saying something because Serato is very good. It's ahead of Rekordbox, it's ahead of Traktor, it's ahead of everyone. So big tick there. They finally put a sync manager in where you can actually manage the synchronizing of your files instead of just dragging and dropping and stuff, which is really cool. They finally put good backup in. They've finally put track previews in, which is just copied what Pioneer has had for a long time. So when it comes to preparing your music on the software, Pioneer's, Denon's, they're about the same now. I'd say Denon DJ's library functions are not quite as good. It hasn't got the tagging yet in the way that Pioneer does, but they're all right. I don't think that should be a big deciding factor for you now. But there is another factor which I'm going to come on to when we talk about ecosystems in just a minute. But before we talk about that, I just want to move on to lighting, because if you want to control lighting, again, Denon DJ is a clear winner because it can interface with a system called Sound Switch, which is a little box that plugs between your unit and the lights. And I'm pretty sure this still needs the box. Anyway, it can interface between the two. And you can control your lighting from this system. And you can't do it from Pioneer. So if you're a mobile DJ and you want to do more than just sound to light on your light systems, but you don't want to employ someone to sit there pushing all the DMX controls on a lighting mixer, then you might want to look into the Pioneer stuff, into the Denon stuff rather than the Pioneer, because it wins on lighting at the moment. Right, let's go and take some of your comments, and then we're going to move on in a second. We're going to talk about ecosystem and pricing, and also we're going to talk about music streaming, because music streaming is becoming a bigger and bigger thing, and how they cope with that as well. So let's go and get some more of your comments over here on the comment cam. So, all right then, what we've got to say, people. Anthony would just love to have the Prime 4. Matthew's tried the Prime 4 and says, I've tried it, and although I still prefer Pioneer. Okay, DJ Ellie on Twitch, hello Twitch people, says, will the Prime 2 become Serato compatible like the Big Brother Prime 4? I don't think they've got any plans to do that right now, but maybe it will. AKS Official over on Twitch says, the library management that Pioneer has built fits my workflow better. Yeah, as we were saying, Pioneer's library management does seem to be slightly ahead at the moment. So Russell says, I've just bought the Prime 4 and I've also had a Pioneer standalone, and the Denon is better to me. So Hilton says, hi Phil, I'm still happy with my NS7 III and your review made me get it. Yeah, it's a lovely DJ system if you want to have the laptop with you for sure. All right then, so DJ Mike Marquez, nice to have you here. Mike says, technically Denons are a better machine, but reality is people will always go with what they know, just like Pixels versus iPhones. So a good point you make there. Thank you very much for that. What's your favourite, Phil, says Anthony. You know what, my job involves me playing with and using all the DJ gear in the world, and I won't tell you which controller and I won't tell you which software, but when I'm DJing away from the limelight, I fall back on some pretty old gear because that's what I like using. And there's a lesson there. Don't always upgrade for the hell of it. Stick with what you like. But anyway, my job is to help you make the right choices. Connor, is it possible for a firmware update to change the waveforms to 3-band on the Pioneer CDJs? As in on the, I don't know, possibly, but I wouldn't hold your breath for it. All right then, so mics have always been an issue with my Pioneer controller, says Ervik. When I switched to Denon, the mics sounded cleaner. Okay, so thank you very much for that comment. Welcome to everyone watching us over on Mixcloud. Hi to DJ LV2D and DJ Nick Vandal. We're actually on Mixcloud. We're on the Global DJ Network Facebook group. We're on Facebook, our Facebook page, and we're also live on YouTube at the moment. So wherever you're watching us, it's good to have you here. Does Denon ever skip due to processing, says Connor? No, I've never seen that happen. I have the XDJ RX1, which is the exact one that we have here. And I'm very, very happy with it, says Jasper. Yes, it is a great piece of hardware. I agree with you. So as a Pioneer user, I think I'll wait till the next generation. I think there'll be lots of new stuff with the streaming function in rekordbox 6. So that's interesting. We'll talk a little bit about rekordbox. Let's do it now, actually. So rekordbox, I said I'd talk a little bit later about it, and we might as well do it now. rekordbox is not just software for preparing your library. rekordbox is also full-blown DJ software. And there's a big advantage there because it means that, for instance, if you start your DJ career with a tiny little rekordbox controller like this, and then you really get hooked, and well, this isn't even just rekordbox, this is DJ, which is for your phone and iPad, but you can use this with rekordbox on your laptop, which is Pioneer's software. And you've got your library, you've got your cue points, you've got your loops, you've learned how it all works, and then you upgrade maybe to a Pioneer DDJ 400 or even an 800 or a 1000, and then one day you upgrade to play in the clubs or to play in the next generation Pioneer Standalones or the Pioneer Standalones we've got here. You can use the same software throughout that whole journey. You can use it with your laptop, you can use it with Standalone. And that's one thing Engine doesn't have because it isn't full-blown DJ software. Now, it might end up being that, but it isn't it right now, and I wouldn't hold your breath for that. So if you're someone who wants to DJ on laptop and on Standalone, or you can see yourself wanting to do both, then that certainly pushes the needle towards Pioneer because its software will handle everything and you won't be exporting your library for one and then using another one for something else. Now, the Denon DJ gear can import Pioneer rekordbox folders, but it's rekordbox libraries, but it's not an ideal solution compared to what I just described. So if you think you're going to want to use both, there's a tick in the Denon, in the Pioneer box. So Rich is talking about, by the way, if you want to know about the new update for the software for Engine Prime, we've literally just published, I mean literally just 5 minutes before, well maybe an hour before I came live, we published a piece on it, and here it is. Denon DJ users get big Engine Prime update to 1.5.0 that you can see on your screen now. So if you want to just go and have a look at that, it's over on the Digital DJ Tips website now, and it goes through in quite some detail all the updates and changes to the Engine software. So that's where you can find that if you're interested after this. All right then, so anyway, Rich says that's a huge update and it's fixed a lot of the issues I had with Engine when I bought the Prime 4. If it had been at this level, if it had been at this level, I probably would have kept it, as the workflow now is nearly identical to rekordbox, and that's always been my go-to for speed. Yeah, I think a lot of Denon users will be very happy with the update to their software today. I have a Denon deck, it's great. Engine Prime software for library organization on PC is developing, but still terrible. It's a real pain to use it moving from Traktor. Try the new version that came out today, Martin. I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised. Hello Tech One TV, good to have our regulars here of course. I think we'll see Pioneer release new systems very soon, says Kevin. And DJ Cool Thing says the Pioneer will be perfect for me since I run my music 99% of the time locally from BPM Supreme, my CD collection and my iTunes purchases. So streaming is not a thing for you for certain. Chris says it's a good thing about pre-analysing music before a gig. For mobile use, being able to do this on the fly, however, is a must. That's a good point. Pioneer is winning there at the moment because Pioneer's rekordbox for iOS, at least if you're an iPhone user, lets you work on your library on your phone and it will sync via the cloud as long as you pay for it, of course, and then all your libraries will be in sync when it's time to use your laptop or indeed to export to a USB. I had the Prime SC5000s and the Prime 4, sold them and went back to a Pioneer XDJ XZ or XZ. I couldn't get used to Denon's workflow, says Angelo. So thank you very much for that. Tagging is still my favorite feature. AKS official says in AKSO official says in Twitch. And all right then, let's move on and talk about a couple of other things before we get a few more of your comments. If you've just joined us, it's Digital DJ Tips, Tuesday Tips Live. It's the battle of the standalones. We're talking about Pioneer DJ versus Denon DJ on the day that Denon DJ releases a big upgrade to its Engine Prime software, which has been one of the big bugbears of Denon DJ users of their standalone gear, the library prep software. And so that's been updated, which is good to know. All right then, so the next thing I want to talk about is, I think it's probably the big one. And this is the ecosystem, because this is something that might well be important to you depending upon how you see your DJing going. So for instance, let's say you are an ambitious DJ who wants to play in clubs and wants to become a touring DJ. Now 90% of clubs, probably 99%, will be able to easily provide you with Pioneer gear. There you go, it's there, because it's there all the time. And the number of clubs that have got Denon DJ gear in, which uses the Engine operating system, is going to be minuscule. Now, as your DJ career grows, you can start to, as Denon DJ say, change your rider and say, hey, I need Denon gear, I'm not playing. Most working DJs don't have that luxury. They need to use the gear that's there, and that's pretty much going to be Pioneer DJ. So if you are someone who thinks that pretty soon you're going to be playing in the clubs and you want to not use Serato and take a laptop or Traktor or whatever and use DVS, you don't want to just plug DVS in and use any gear, that's another video as well. You actually want to use your USB sticks and use the gear that's there. Well, that's going to push you strongly towards towards Pioneer DJ. Denon DJ users are more likely to be either, the laid-back Lukes of this world who can say, I want Denon or I'm not playing, but the working DJs who play event DJing, so corporate, weddings, that kind of thing, because you're probably taking your own gear with you then. So even if you're using, a controller like this, or you're maybe assembling a more professional couple of players and a mixer, frankly, it doesn't really matter to you. Oh, wrong camera. Frankly, it doesn't really matter to you what everyone else is using, because you've got your system, that's what you use, you're down with it. But also, I just mentioned the software angle as well. If you want to use a DJ controller, as I was saying when I was holding up the little DDJ 200 a minute ago, but then later down the line you might want to use even just something like this, standalone DJ gear, just for your own good, not playing anywhere else, just because you want to, well then you can make that transition quite nicely with Pioneer in a way you can't with Denon at the moment. So that's something to bear in mind, the ecosystem, because that is, it would be a lot of investment in preparing all your music and so on in one system and then not being able to use it in another. Or even worse, having one at home and one at the club and having to keep transferring between the two. The final thing I want to touch on before giving you a piece of news which adds a twist to all of this is pricing. Now pricing, Denon wins hands down. It's just cheaper and you get more for your money. So, if price is an issue and you just don't want to pay what is often referred to as the Pioneer Premium, well, that's going to weigh in Denon DJ's favour. Now, that's kind of the end of the comparison here. I want to just bring up a lot of the value of this is what you guys and girls are saying and the questions you're asking. So I want to just spend a good 10-15 minutes bringing your comments on screen and answering those questions. That's kind of the end of the comparison, except something that indicates very strongly where some of this is going. Happened with the press release we got today about the new version of the Engine software for Denon. And the press release didn't come from Denon DJ. It came from a company called Engine DJ. And you can go and find them online, enginedj.com. And it goes on that website about our software solutions, and they have Engine OS, which is what's embedded in systems like this. That's what makes this all work. They call it Engine OS. And they also have the software that you download and load onto your PC or your Mac, which is called Engine Prime. And their subtitle on their website is something like Software Solutions for DJs. or software solutions for DJs and DJ hardware or something like that. But the point is that the software that powers Denon gear is being separated from Denon gear. It's got its own website, it's got its own name. I think the press release mentioned Denon about once. So what does this mean? Well, this is quite exciting, because what this means is that clearly the company that owns Denon in music, which also owns Newmark, also owns Rain, also owns Stanton now, that company, which makes Engine, is clearly demarcating Engine so that it can use that software and that embedded operating system in other brands of DJ gear. So let's look at the other two big brands that we can talk about here. We can talk about, under their own stable, Rain. So maybe we'll see Rain gear with this embedded in it. I don't see why not. But Newmark. Newmark's the big one, because Newmark has traditionally made entry-level gear that always needs a laptop. Now, if they can embed a stripped-down version of that in Newmark gear, that means that you can start your DJ career buying a cheap $300 or $400 controller. I say cheap, that's a lot of money. $300 or $400 controller, which doesn't actually need your laptop. So that means that you can go from your first purchase all the way up to using stuff like the Pro Denon gear, right? This is an SC5000. You can go all the way up to using stuff like that without having to switch. Now, if Denon DJ, or rather, let's switch over and start calling it Engine, if Engine DJ can get its embedded systems into cheaper gear from other brands like Newmark, and maybe brands even outside of the family of companies, and if it can develop its software to also run on a laptop, so you can plug it into even cheaper gear, and again, gear from other manufacturers maybe, well then the fight will really be on, because it will have everything that Pioneer DJ has. So I just wanted to throw that one in there, because it's a, you know, I suspect strongly we're going to start seeing stuff with the Engine software. This is Engine software I've got on here. This is the new version of Engine Prime. We're going to see stuff with Engine Prime and the same technology that's embedded in the Prime series of Denon gear coming to, we'll get Newmark Prime, for instance. Exciting times. Right, let's have a look at some of your comments and stuff now. I want to just spend 10-15 minutes just talking to you guys and girls about this. What you can share will be really important, and hopefully answering some of your questions. Gracias siempre por su información. Saludos, says unknown person. All these unknown people, by the way, are coming from our Facebook group, and that's because you have to click a little link in the description for the live cast in order to get your name showing. So we'll have to fix that so that we get your names, because that would be much nicer. So I'm going to buy either a Prime 2 or a Prime Go in the near future, says Simon. How will I know if it comes with the new software, or do I just download? It comes with the new software. The Prime 2 or Prime Go will obviously have the software embedded in it, and then you'll just download the latest version of Denon software, so no problem with that. Do you see Denon becoming an industry standard like CDJ 2000 and Zone 92? I don't think anyone knows that. I don't think even Denon DJ know that. But, you know, I imagine Pioneer is scared, so battle on, right? CB Belarus says, once again, hello, good sir. Be well and thank you for all the education. You're very welcome. Andrew, I love my Prime 4, but the effects are so bad, they're basically unusable. So interesting feedback there. Thank you for that. This may be a silly question, says Jeremy, but is there a way you can rent out any of these Denons, seeing I'm a Pioneer user, to try out? There might well be. Your local DJ rental company might be able to rent Denon gear for you. So yeah, why don't you try? Have a look. All right then. So has the Denon DJ new software got variable beat grids? Yes, it has. We talked about it a minute ago, actually, Alienation Radio. They're very, very good. So it's got time stretching and it sounds good. You can move your beat grids around, you move your every bar marker, you can move around to grid up your tracks. It hasn't got fully elastic beat gridding in, well, no DJ software has, by the way, in that it can show you if a track goes from 120 to 100 to 90. It can't do that. It'll take the BPM of the longest section in the track, but all DJ software does that. But yes, you can beat grid difficult tracks, non-electronic tracks, finally, and I think that's a killer. And also pushes it, it does it better than Pioneer's software. So that's a big thing. Jack says, as an Engine Prime user, it isn't perfect, it needs some work, but overall it isn't horrible. Well, Jack, you're really, really going to love the new version that came out today now, because it really does change the game, certainly. So Pete says, I'm a Rekordbox 6 user with DDJ 1000, but Rekordbox 5 was so much faster. Rekordbox 6 is laggy. Well, maybe it's your computer, maybe it's the config, but it sounds like you're not having a good start on Rekordbox 6 there. Sorry to hear that, Peter. Joel says, Morse says, Denon equals Android, Pioneer equals Apple, sitting on their laurels and holding features back. So thank you for your opinion there. Joel says, I like the RB DMX1 better than SoundSwitch. The SoundSwitch is the software that the system you will use to control lights with Denon. Pioneer RB DMX1 is what you'll use with Pioneer Rekordbox DJ software. So thanks for that. SoundSwitch makes lighting really easy, so Jack's giving an alternate view there for SoundSwitch. Thank you for that. All right then, so just scroll. I'm trying to find some different types of comments. I have a Denon, says Luis, and the biggest problems are the updates. I use Mac, and every time I update my Mac, I have to wait for Denon drivers and updates. To be fair, that isn't only Denon DJ. DJ software is notorious, and DJ hardware, for needing you to wait a little while before updating your operating system. So just wait a little while. It's no hardship to wait for the new OS, right? I know it might be a bit annoying, but what I do, because I've got the luxury of 2 laptops, is that the DJ laptop stays on the old OS for ages, but the big computer, if you like, moves over. Hi Phil, shout Manila on Tractor. It seems it's Tractor's falling behind everyone else. Can you give us an update on its compatibility either with Pioneer, DJ or Denon? Thanks. I know you can plug Tractor libraries into the Denon system. I can't remember whether you can actually plug them in on a USB or whether you import them onto Rekordbox first and then export them. I'm not sure about that, so long since I've tried. But you can certainly get them to work with the Denon gear, or rather with Engine Prime. So, all right then. So it's so lovely to see so many of you answering each other's questions and chatting to each other, which is cool. Leroy says, the new Engine Prime 1.5, do you know if you can manually adjust beat grids? Yes, and we just answered that one actually. So yes, you can manually adjust beat grids. So Zach says, I've been a Pioneer fan and gigged with their gear for the past 25 years. I jumped on the Denon DJ bandwagon. I got the Prime 4 a few months ago and I flat out love it. I'll never go back to Pioneer. The Prime 4 is perfect. I actually love the Engine Prime software, no issues. I'd love to get the Prime Go, but money's pretty tight. Congratulations, Denon, you're the new king. Someone's happy with their Denons. Why are Denon's controllers all built like a tank with metal, but Pioneer all plastic? I can't answer that question, but it's true, they are. So I use Virtual DJ. Will jumping to a Prime 4 be awkward? No, it won't. Prime 4 is not an awkward controller to get started on. So all right then, I think the next step for Pioneer would be to make a hybrid in between the XDJ XZ and the DDJ ZX, something worth upgrading to over my XDJ RX. Too many X's and Z's and Z's and stuff going on there, but thank you for that, Jeffrey. All right then, the Prime 4's jogs are too small, says Jameson. So yep, if you like bigger jog wheels, then that's certainly true. I am just looking for other things which are different to the things we've been answering already. We are live here, people. So if you just joined us and you wonder what's going on, we're talking about all the differences between Denon and Pioneer, with Denon DJ having some new Engine Prime software today. Watch the replay from the beginning and you'll see everything we've talked about. It's been really interesting, actually. Lots of good comments and stuff from you guys and girls. So lots of people say that the upgrade to Rekordbox 6 is clunky. People losing their playlists and so on. So a couple of these for Rekordbox 6 here today, which is interesting. I have a DDJ 1000, I love it. The Prime 4 is clearly miles ahead in tech terms and I admire what they've done. However, when I play on Denon, I just prefer the feel and workflow of Pioneer. That was last October. I'm keen to see where Denon goes, but try them out in shops before buying. It's a very good piece of advice, of course, because a lot of this is about feel. I've used Pioneer since 1989. They've never been amazing at innovation outside the DJ M200. That said, they always give enough for you to do your job. Realise that and your gear decisions will be easy peasy. So you're obviously coming down on the side of Pioneer, Mike there, so thanks for that. Loads of questions here which are outside what we're talking about today, but don't worry about that, people, because we have a new live show on Thursdays in the same slot where we just answer all your questions. So if you're asking questions that aren't related to this topic, come back on Thursday and we'll try and get them answered there. Or just rely on the wonderful people in the comments who are helping you out. I just think it's amazing. It's become just a place to come and help each other out with me kind of watching, which I love. Thanks for yet another informative broadcast, says Simon. You're very welcome. All right then. So the next one is, do you think Denon DJ will become more standard in clubs? The Denon is superior in my opinion, but not as flexible, says Joseph. Yeah, we kind of said earlier, it's something which, who knows? Who's got a crystal ball? How is Denon with video mixing? You can't video mix at all on the Denon standalone hardware. You can't video mix at all on the Pioneer standalone hardware. You have to use software for that. So Pioneer wins, but you'll be using its software on the laptop. You won't be using standalone, which is what we're talking about today. All right then, so one or two more comments. Do you think the Engine is looking at taking on and removing Virtual DJ from the market, or will Virtual DJ be able to hold their own? Virtual DJ will hold their own. Virtual DJ is fantastic software, and it's got its own loyal user base like all of them have. So all right then, Denon DJ looks fab. What I hear in market for now, Pioneer is still the way to go for clubs. I'm satisfied with my XZ, says Ronald. Thank you very much for that, Ronald. I have a very good time with Recordbox and the DDJ 1000, says Florian. So there you go. I've just purchased a Denon MC X8000, says John. What are your, instead of the 1000 SRT, I think you mean, what are your thoughts on the MCX8000? It's actually still compatible fine with this software. I noticed in this software there is a, which some of you guys will probably know already, but in the software there is a little thing at the bottom of the library which says enable support. Enable, you probably can't, no, of course you can't see it from there, what am I thinking? But anyway, here it says enable MCX8000 compatibility in the new version of Engine Prime. So they're still supporting your MCX8000. It was the first generation standalone from Denon, so they have moved on with the Prime series. But yeah, it does the job. It's a good controller, well made, should last you a long time, and they are still supporting it. That's the important thing. Harold, I don't have any problems with Recordbox 6. Charles, I'm a little upset that you seem to want to influence my purchase of more gear. Just remember what I said a minute ago. Left to my own devices, I revert to some pretty old gear myself. So, you know, it's what, don't replace your gear for the hell of it. Lots of you just saying, don't update your Mac. There you go, problem solved when it comes to waiting for your DJ company to upgrade its drivers. All right then, so I think Denon DJ is great for a higher ground end controller, when Pioneer DJ is great for entry level and mid grade. Okay, so for higher end controllers you think Denon's got the edge there. Thank you for that, DJ Ram. What is that controller sitting on the floor behind you, says Anjad. The controller sitting on the floor behind me, which is actually only just within my abilities to pick up and hold in front of the camera, is this one. And you know what it is now that I've picked it up and shown it to you, of course. It's the massive Pioneer XDJ XZ or XZ, which I would have put on the table to represent Pioneer, but it's too big. It takes up the whole table. Denon is strong with their work in the past 2 or 3 years. This announcement is going to open up the Denon ecosystem to a lot more DJs, says Michael. He's talking about the new Engine 1.5 software. So Engine can now beat grid transition tracks that go from 100 to 128, right? Says Ian, no, it can't. That would be full elastic beat gridding, which no DJ software can do. So no, it can't. It'll pick the part of the song that's got the longest section in it, in the longest BPM, and choose that one if you like. So I understand that Denon's software is great. However, I hear the build quality isn't. Plasticky knobs, etc. I disagree with that. I think the build quality is pretty sound on the Denon gear. A lot of metal in them. So, all right, then 1 or 2 more comments, and then I'm going to have to get out of here. So this is from Carlos, who says, "Hi Phil, I just updated to Prime 1.5, and the track duplication is still an issue when viewing crates on my hard drive that are also on connected media. Very annoying." Yeah, so I know in Serato they have a little tick box so that when you move things from hard drive to connected, you can say which one's in the library and which isn't. I wonder if it's the same issue with Recordbox. Maybe someone can share that with us. But I guess when you are when you've got copies of your library, in other words, when you've got a library you might use on your computer, one you might use on an external drive, one you might use on a USB, it's going to show them when they're all plugged in, right? And maybe it'd be bad if it didn't. I haven't thought through the kind of use case for that, but yeah, I can see how that can be annoying. Ronald is +1ing for big jog wheels, so thanks for that. And just one or two more comments. A brother named Sherm, I've not updated to Rekordbox 6 yet. Am I really missing anything? Not if you don't want streaming to make it, cloud to make it short. And apparently Pioneer has released a small update to Rekordbox 6 to mend all the bugs. So that's always the way with 6.0.0 or anything 0.0.0, isn't it? Any new info on Newmark support for Engine Prime? No, but we are now predicting it is coming. So you will get Newmark stuff with Engine Prime. Johnny, nice to see you, Johnny. Rekordbox is free at the end of the day, and you can export your crates and playlist to your USB sticks or drives, so you can prep your gigs and not actually need the Pioneer hardware. Yeah, that's true. You can do a lot of work on your library without the Pioneer hardware, but obviously when you export it, that's the only thing it's going to work on. Although it does work on the Denon gear, but it does have to do some work on that library to make that happen. But thank you for that, Johnny, and I hope you're keeping well. How well does the engine update deal with manual beat gridding? Loads of you wanting to know this. Basically, it can now DJ disco, it can now beat grid disco, funk, rock, all those things where the drummer changes a bit. It'll do it fine. It's got time stretching in it. The algorithm's really cool. It also guesses very well where the beats are, better than anything I've seen actually from playing with it today. But it won't do your transition tracks that go from 90 to 120 or whatever. It won't do that at this stage. So I think we're going to call it a day there. Thank you very much everyone for being here. Sorry for all those people whose questions I couldn't ask. Maybe you all do me a favor and just scroll through, scroll through the comments and answer each other's questions as we go along. My team will try and get to as many questions as they can in the few days after watching this, after this video goes live. But meanwhile, do let us know, do let us know how you get on with either of these systems. We're always here, we're all ears. Tell us underneath. We will be watching and listening. We'd love to know, what's your views? Has Denon edged it? Is Pioneer still out in front? What will you go for and why? Why is the most important thing here? We want to know your reasons for this stuff. On the day that Denon DJ has released its software update, which is a really big one for Engine, and this is it, Engine Prime 1.5, out today. Find all the news about that over on our Digital DJ Tips website. It's the top story there at the moment. If you want to get a copy of the book, as ever, all you got to do is join Digital DJ Tips. Why not do it while you're there? Or if not, just go to digitaldjtips.com/join and join us. We'll send you a copy of this by PDF, a download PDF of our book. And all that's left for me to say, as ever, is, well, join us on Thursday to start with. And I hope you enjoyed our live streams over the weekend, by the way. They're both now on YouTube. You can catch up with them there. And mine is on my Mixcloud page as well if you just want to hear the audio, mixcloud.com/Phil Morse. But Steve did a live stream on Sunday and I did one on Monday. Really enjoyed them. Great crowd with us this week as well. We're doing that again next week. It's me on Sunday at 5 p.m. London, midday Eastern. Come and join me this weekend for another DJ live stream live from my balcony. But also join me on Thursday at 4 p.m. London, 11 a.m. Eastern for our open house, all questions. I'll be here, but we're answering anything. I'll pull gear out, I'll jump on the decks, I'll recommend books and show you websites, whatever I can do to answer your questions. It's an open house on Thursday and every Thursday for our Thursday Q&A. So join me for that. But meanwhile, get good, get out there and make the moments. And I will see you again very soon.